It's Jam TV Show 205. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
All
Yeah,
four
how
at
you
once.
feeling, Will?
Incredible. Back on my feet.
Two.
Thank you.
There you go.
Back on my feet.
Hope
Had a
you
little.
hear me.
What a
We can.
festive opening. Hey, Dave, how are we? How's California?
It's good. I want to say Milo is out here visiting.
I saw pictures. That's
And
cool.
he had lunch on Sunday.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful thing.
That's great.
So
Where did
that
you
was the picture that you posted. That was I thought that was at Todd's Point. No, so that was in California.
That's California. Yeah, he's out here. He's out here until the 29th.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Milo, great singer. Plays with a bunch of bands. Milo played with a band called Sharky and the Unknowns. You guys obviously know that, right?
Yes.
So I was the keyboard sub for a while with Sharky and the Unknowns, right? And so that's how I met Milo, and I did a bunch of shows, right? And I also played in a band who I hate, and they hate me now. Pimpinella, they're like still popular. I was a founding member of that band a long time ago, and they're like a lot of bad blood. But at the time, I had just started playing with them, and the keyboard player that I was subbing for in Sharky and the Unknowns is a guy named Mario Pimpinella. Did you know him?
No.
No.
Yeah. So what happened was I go to a show of Sharky and the Unknowns because I've never seen them with their keyboard player. And this guy comes up to me and he goes, "Are you the Pimpinella guy?" He talked like that. And he looked like Super Mario Brothers. He was like a short, stout Italian man. I think he had a mustache, everything, right? And he came up and he's like, "Are you the Pimpinella guy?" And I'm like, yeah, I'm in Pimpinella. And he goes, "I'm Mario Pimpinella. Like, that's my name." And I go, "Yeah, we saw a construction truck driving around. It said Pimpinella Construction."
What a surprise.
And we took the name because we thought it was a pimpin' name. You know, at the time, it was like a bad boy name. And he's like, "That's my truck," right? So he said, "How would you feel if somebody started a band with your last name?" And I said, "You mean like Train?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah, okay." Swear to God, that happened. That's how I met Milo. You know, you never meet the person you're subbing for. You know, you never meet the person
right,
you're
not there.
The regular guy. You're never on a gig with him. So anyway, yeah. How did you all meet Milo? You know Milo forever, David?
Yes. Forever. Like Bill.
Me
Like
too.
Bill. Forever.
Milo was part of a crew that was kind of like the Bible Street crew in Koskob.
Bible Street crew?
Oh, yeah.
They ran the whole gambit of being people you were like sort of scared of, who were kind of, they were like borderline bullies at one point.
Oh.
And then as you got a little bit older, you're like, why the fuck is this guy scaring me? He's not, and then they go into the needle gets buried on the nice guy end, like it starts with like intimidation. Right. Then it goes to like your realization that why am I afraid of these freaking people? And then it goes on to like, wow, he's really nice, I
know exactly what you're talking about. So Milo is Milo younger or older than you guys?
He's older than I'm older than Dave. Milo's older than me, I think, by
a little bit,
a
right?
year or two.
Right. Which matters a lot when you're younger. Like, 1 year older, big.
Yeah.
Bill.
Yes.
Graduation year is what?
69.
Okay. Milo 68.
There you go.
Yeah. So he's, I knew he was a year older than me, but you know what? He might have actually ended up in 69 too. Like Milo's one of these guys too that like like you have like a reunion of something, and it's like somehow he's there for like a 5-year spread. He's like at every year of the reunion. It's like,
Well, it's because you can do reunion crashing. It's really easy to do because nobody's quite sure who anyone else is. So you can be like, hey, and they've got name tags. Ed, I'm Will. We
Well,
used to
and you
hang out."
sort of recognize if somebody's a year or
it's
two
like-
older or younger, you kind of maybe know who they are.
Yeah, it's a great place to pick up chicks. I had excellent luck for a couple of years.
There's Will Baird. There he goes. Like
tell
he
the
was
truth, Will.
always surprising me.
If I were smarter, I would have done it in multiple colleges in the single year. Because you can only do it for a certain age range, and then there's this old guy who's claiming he's in our class. But
My favorite
didn't
pickup
really-
chick story from Will Baird is when he like threw the turkey at the guy, or what's the story with the turkey?
Oh, this is oh my God! Back on living on Harvard Street, there was a couple downstairs who were having an argument, and I could hear him yelling and stuff. But I was just trying to leave to go out the back door of the building, and I walk out the back door, and then I hear the woman yell something, and I hear this thud. The guy's walking next to me, and I turn around, and there's a turkey. Just sitting there, like not a live turkey, a cooked turkey.
Not a live turkey. I
And
just
it's,
wanted to
and
be
it's
clear.
quite literally steaming. There's steam coming off of the top of this turkey.
Did you grab
this
the
woman was like,
turkey?
she
I
was
don't
trying
remember.
to throw the turkey at the guy.
Did you
Sounds
grab
like
it?
So he did not catch it. No, he didn't.
I thought there were girls involved. I thought there were some hot girls living in your building. I'm mixing up two stories, obviously.
Hot turkey.
No, there were hot girls across the hall from me who were
And they were not involved in the turkey incident.
And they were not. No, there were other incidents, but like I got to jump their car. But
What now?
Other than there was one girl
Family
who had,
show. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Jumped their car. But there were some cute. I think they were probably graduate students.
Right.
Everyone seems like they're children compared to me when I go to Harvard Square. So I'm like, why are all these children here? And it's like, oh, they're
I
college
got to come up and
kids.
see you. I got to come up and see you one of these days, Wilbur.
Yeah, check it out. Come up
I
to
got to
Boston.
come up to Boston
Yeah.
and pick up a turkey and
And make up some chicks too, and we'll have a good time.
Oh my God.
Here it
So
is.
yeah, so Milo plays with that hotshot band now. They just did a giant gig with Joe Calzone.
Yeah, he's still doing it.
He's singing with Joe Calzone in what's the name of that band? It's like it's a
Tribute
it's
to Joe Cocker.
Joe Cocker tribute band.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Wow.
A backup singer. And they just did like some giant gig at some stadium. I don't know. I just see what I see on social media. But
Which one of you guys, speaking of social media, passed around the Todd Rundgren song, the group Fossils and
I did.
Foxes? That was a great Fossils and Foxes. Man, what a great band! Father's friends and his daughters.
What's funny is that there were, it was from the group. It came out of last week, and there was a lot of chit chat. Randy and God Almighty,
that other guy, Frank.
Right.
Frank, yeah,
Also,
they were like sort of commenting on how perfect it seemed.
Right.
And honestly, when I listened to it again, it sounded like it had been worked a little, but it had only been worked with what had been done. It wasn't, they might have done some mixing, but there was an earlier version that did not have that going on. But in neither of the versions, they were commenting like, why aren't you hearing the cars in the park? I only posted the thing because they were talking about whatever Randy posted. It was in an environment where you're just like, oh my God, here are these people playing their balls off, and they're playing in some place where nobody cares, and
Yeah, in a
there's
restaurant or
shopping carts
patio.
going by and all this other stuff. And that was the thing with the Fossil, and because they did, that version of the Todd Rundgren song was just, oh my God, and
Great.
and they have a ton of videos, and they have a lot of videos where they do it in the studio, but they're done in the studio. They're not like
So that group does lots of different covers of things.
They do.
I
But
got
they,
it.
but
The thing
I've
I
seen.
saw. What did I see? I saw a Steely Dan cover. Was that it?
No,
They've
Todd
done
Rundgren.
Steely Dan. They've done like a weird one. They've done like
It was
Midnight
we
Cruiser,
gotta get.
like a weird one, like Midnight Cruiser, which is a weird song off like the first album.
Right.
It's very deep cut. But they've done Rundgren's like Love Is the Answer, and it's borderline as good as Todd's version. You know,
Right.
maybe the lead singer not so much, but even he's good. You know, and then
Yeah.
his daughters sing their asses off. They're great. And,
Incredible. Yeah, absolutely
You know,
incredible.
they-
One of them referred to something about the 2010 as the time. It sounded like she was actually saying that was the time when they were singing. And I was like,
Well,
that's
I
14
don't
years
think
ago?
they're together anymore. I don't think they're together. I think it was
They
a
grew
family.
up. Yeah.
And, you know, and also one of the guys died.
Oh, that
it's
diminishes
from-
your ability to put out material.
Yeah.
The
especially
guitarist
that
or
guy,
the
he
bass
was-
player,
yeah.
one of them died. You know,
It was probably the guitarist just thinking about some morbidity facts, but he was a great guitar player, man, and singer too.
they were all, the drummer was great.
Do you remember the name
drummer
of
was
it?
great,
For people
yeah.
who are watching, they can look it up.
It's Foxes and Fossils, and
Oh,
they
yeah,
just,
right.
Other way
and
around.
they just have a real collection of fun takes on songs, and a lot of them are like studio things that they recreate in the studio.
Right.
And I can just say that I've seen them do the stuff in videos where it's live, and you can see that, so that it's not like it's a little bit like the band that I love so much, Leonid and Friends, the Russian,
right.
Ukrainian, Lithuanians, who started as a Chicago tribute band, and now they now they basically do that. They'll do Ides of March. They'll do
Right.
I'm Your Vehicle. They'll do they'll do a lot of Earth, Wind and Fire. They'll do Chaka. They'll do all sorts
Right.
of stuff.
And they're phenomenal.
Yeah, and I found myself, and I've seen them live 3 times. So I
Right.
can only tell you, it's not a studio trick. You're like,
And
when
that's
they do this-
Leonid and Friends. Yeah, they're phenomenal players.
Oh my
So
God.
I played in a band with a guy, a Russian drummer from Siberia, from Novosibirsk in Siberia. And I'm like, where did you? And he was the funkiest drummer ever, like super funky
Yeah.
and very technical. But he obviously was bringing other influences, but like could do Stevie Wonder like nobody, like really funky groove player. And Andre, a great guy. And he said, "Oh, you have no idea. It's so cold in Siberia that the music community plays 10 hours a day. Like we all just get together and play all the time." And so he used to go back to Siberia for like musical. I think in the winter he would go back and like hang out with people there. And he showed me videos, and they were all like super good, like up here. Speaking of people who are all super good, like up here, Randy
Up
Stone.
Randy.
Randy Stone.
He's up there.
Hey, fellas.
Hey there.
Randy.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How's everybody?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
Good.
So Leonid and Friends, phenomenal. So I love those studio acts. Like it's like I want to have that now. I want to have a band that gets together to do nothing but video, no live performances. Just like gets together in the studio and.
But these guys like Leonid and Friends, they tour like maniacs.
Yeah.
They're on tour right now, and they're
Right.
touring. They're in the West, and they're not really coming back east for a while. I mean, I'm sick on them because it's so fun,
Right.
And you talk about Siberia. The female singer in the band is from Siberia, and I'll tell you, that will keep your feet warm at night. I'm right there. I mean, she's
They're
gorgeous.
so good. Yeah, they're all good looking. And
Like
they're
my wife
all,
has given me permission, like if for some reason Ksenia ever,
oh,
died-
right. I remember her. Yeah.
yeah, no, she's and the drummer Dave does because those Chicago parts, they're so snappy. You know what I mean? They're like,
Yes.
it's all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yes.
And he's got the snap on this stuff. It's like it's really fun. I found myself a couple of days ago this week. I don't know. I was just feeling kind of blah about things, and I put on them doing "Fantasy" by Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yeah, I've seen that clip. Yeah.
And I watched it like 10 times because it just made me so happy. And then
Right.
I figured it out on acoustic guitar, and I was thinking, is this a song that a solo guy could actually ever do, like an Earth, Wind and Fire song? That's
Which
a
one? Which Earth, Wind and Fire? what song?
Fantasy.
Fantasy. Right. Could you do it?
It's not rootsy, but it's a freaking fun song.
Everything they did.
Oh my God. How you doing, Randy?
I'm good. How's everybody? I was hearing some of the chatter before I logged on. First off, that Foxes and Fossils thing, my comment was, I can't believe how well recorded that thing is. Their vocals are crystalline. They're perfect.
Yeah.
And by the way, they really are foxes. Those are pretty women.
They
They're
are.
the daughters. They're the keyboard player's daughters.
They're gorgeous. And
Right.
but the performance and the recording, and Frank was kind of like, it's almost too good, but
Yeah.
you can't really sync that up. If they recorded in the studio to sync that up with the video that well, you can't really do that. That would be impossible. So I think that was his debate. Then Ed, you referenced the Rebecca Johnson trio.
That's how they do it. This is how they do it, by the way.
What is that?
But Rebecca Johnson she's the pink-haired woman who is a master on bass.
Oh yeah.
Just fucking unbelievable and sings like crazy.
Yeah.
And three instruments are basically recreating Peg. And Bill, you made the point, and I think you're right. There's certain signature things in some songs that you got to throw in. And Bill, I'm with you on that guy should have stepped out on his lead just doing that very first.
Because
that's what we call signature parts, and you need those signature parts in songs.
Yeah, and we do ins and outs.
So the larger point was these poor people. I don't know if I've ever played with people so talented as these three. And there's a mom with a shopping cart going by with two kids. They're not even looking. No one's paying.
But I love that's what they went for, obviously. So what they do is they bring one of these or something like this. This is a new generation. It's a board, like a little production board. I think it's a 12-channel board, right? But it records to an SD card. So you get world-class multi-track recording on this thing, and then you can pump it into your computer and mix it and whatever later.
Wow.
And so that's what they do. They bring something like this to the gig. They play through it live as a live board.
Well, they record, honestly, Randy, that track, when I saw the comments and I listened back to it again, I do feel like it's been worked. Which is not to say that the performance worked.
Oh, the performance is genuine. I
think there was some mixing there, but there's enough stuff of theirs on, and I believe I heard a version of that, which is actually the same version, but it was unmixed and it was perfect. And there's enough of their stuff where it's live that they don't rely on the studio, but then they do the studio stuff.
It's phenomenal.
The studio stuff it's like Leonette and Friends. It's just like, I mean, honestly, I don't think Chicago is about to play at the Capitol Theater.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they're better than Leonette and Friends. Honestly, there's not enough original guys there. I don't think they're any more talented than those other guys. I don't think they are.
Wow.
They should go on tour together. The real guys should go on with Leonette.
I know that sounds silly and stupid, but sometimes when you're into the dinosaur acts, there are some cover bands that do a good job of if they're the replication kind of bands.
Right. Yeah. I think the local example for that is Tom Petty Project.
Oh,
absolutely.
They fucking kill, and they sell out the Fairfield Theater Company every time they play. And I played with their drummer, Scott Pearson. Yep. He was a wonderful guy and super skilled. I don't know the rest of them, but they, for a tribute band, they sell out not bars, but theaters.
Phil Lopresti, those guys are guys.
Oh, Phil, I have played with Phil.
Yeah, and Mark, you never played with Mark?
He's another level.
Player. He's a bass player, which is why we would never have played with him.
Who is it?
Mark Bridgman.
I don't know. Bass players don't know each other, and if we knew each other, we wouldn't like each other. So
that's funny. You don't know Mark Bridgman. Really? You don't know Mark Bridgman?
Never heard the name.
We get along with him. He owns a Studebaker. It's
awesome. Great guy.
Oh, wow.
That's what I was saying before. You don't know I don't know the other keyboard players around. I know very few. Yeah. But and if you're a bass player, you don't know any bass players because you're never on a gig with them.
Last year, not this year, but last year I subbed with 13 different bands, but I never met their bass players. I don't know who the fuck they are.
Right. Right. That's really funny. I got to make there ought to be this thing where you can put up your profile and then you can share friends and,
some sort of muted version of fantasy football or something.
Right.
I was thinking of a musician's version of Facebook.
There is such a thing, actually. Yeah.
How could we?
I can't remember what it's called. I signed up for that out here. I think it's called Band Mix, and
I've done Band Mix.
And I but I'm in a different musical environment out in PA. I go to Connecticut every week, but I'm trying to get music going out here. It's a different world, and the only way that I can find people, within a 30-mile radius is on Bandmix, because there are no jams or anything like that.
Yeah.
Looking for a washboard player,
Right. And they write me, and they're like, we see on Bandmix that you play accordion. Could we tap you for it? And I'm like,
you're like,
weird,
that's not what I meant.
That's not what I meant.
I did
I
not
also
intend
play
that.
Right.
You don't want to admit to playing the accordion out in Podunk, Pennsylvania. I'll tell you.
Right, exactly.
You want to keep that to yourself, or else you're going to
Play
have
all the regular songs. Yeah, all the standard.
You'll wind up in a parking lot restaurant.
You sure do
Playing with a
play,
band.
Birdie.
That's it. It's funny you said parking lot restaurant. That I was at what's the place in Norwalk by the bowling alley?
Oh yeah, across the Italian place. across the street.
Ponza, right? And so I have this thing where I've turned down gigs. Yeah, exactly. I've turned down gigs that are when the restaurants during COVID made tents next to the restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
You're playing in the winter in the tent, and you might get a freezing draft through and whatever. Like, I am not
still,
But Ponza had a tent, right? And so I went over there. There was I think the Schumann were playing there, and they were doing a tribute to Billy, and I went and whatever. And they have an accordion hanging on the wall inside. And I was like, I went to the owner. She's super nice. And I went, can I play that? And I grabbed the accordion and walked around the restaurant playing along with the Schumann. It was funny.
I thought it was like bait, like you grab that and then suddenly a trap door goes out and like
right, exactly. I'm trapped. I'm taking a poke.
Like a shark comes up.
Right, exactly. Holy God. So Bill Nolan, play us a song, would you please?
Okay.
How about that?
I have a number of choices, but I'm bound to make the wrong one. So here we go.
All right.
Go for it.
I'm riding shotgun down the avalanche. Tumbling and falling down the avalanche. So be quiet tonight, the stars shine bright on this mountain of new fallen snow. I will raise up my voice into the void. You've let me know where to go. I love you so much and it's so bizarre. A mystery that goes on and on and on. This is the best thing in the very world. We don't get along. After countless appeals, we keep spinning our wheels on this mountain of new fallen snow. So I let go the catch over the edge, and you've let me know where to go. Sometimes you make me lose my will to live. Just become a beacon for your soul. The past is stronger than my will to give you or myself, I don't know. I'm riding shotgun down the avalanche. Tumbling and falling down the avalanche. So be quiet tonight. Be sure to step lightly on this mountain of new fallen snow. I will raise up my voice into the void. You've let me know where to go.
Right.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, good.
Yes, indeed.
That was Sean Colvin, right?
It was Sean Colvin. I think I mentioned before how like I was so into Nancy Griffith. I just loved Nancy Griffith so much, and then I heard Sean Colvin, and like I just spurned Nancy Griffith. Like I became enamored with Sean Colvin, and I heard her at a little place in Westport that was based on like a Cambridge music store called Hear Music, and they were at the top of the avenue, not as far up as Sally's was. They were short of Sally's, but they were really at the top of the avenue. And they had listening kiosks, and the listening kiosks were sponsored or represented by artists. So it's like Robbie Robertson's, five recommends, and they had the pots, and you could sit there and you could listen to stuff. And I just remember when I first, I forget who it was that, it might have been Robbie Robertson, then, or might have even been Ricky Lee Jones or something. They recommend, Sean Colvin. And I heard it, and it's like her first album, which was basically her and John Leventhal, who's a freaking genius. It was like the two of them. And it sounds so demo-y, but it's amazing. It's just so, it's totally demo-y and fabulous. And like, things that sound like they're hitting pots and pans for, for percussion and stuff. And really cool. But
that wasn't titled "Sunny" when Sunny Came Home. Was that the first album, or was that?
It was her first album called "Steady On," I believe.
Steady On.
Yeah, but it was real. I mean, it's an amazing album. I mean, because it's got songs, and she can play the shit. She's kind of like she plays right. Polymath on the tunings and that stuff. It's just that's all.
Yeah, she writes great and she plays great and she sings great.
Looks great. She's cute.
So are there record stores at all anymore? Are there anywhere?
There are a few, but I don't know why people are looking at the records in them.
Out here.
Like used record stores or new record stores?
Used.
I meant like, is it all Spotify now, like for new stuff, or is it
pretty much?
Well, except for merch tables at concerts.
There's that, right?
The only ones I know of around here, I don't know, Bill, you probably know, is Johnny still around?
Yes, Johnny's is still around.
Where is that?
Johnny's is in Darien. It's next to Soho Bakery. It's on the corner. It's on the corner of near Ernie's. Do you know Ernie's?
Yeah.
The degenerate drunk place.
Right.
Ernie's, it still hasn't gotten the memo that there's no smoking in bars anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They haven't
gotten any
that was
memos
like
in there for years.
The Beachcomber in Milford. They actually had a fucking cigarette machine there. It's like they didn't care. They were clearly paying off somebody in Milford.
Right.
Like, and the other one is Disc and Dat in Bethel.
Oh.
So
and they have
Disc and Dat, if I'm not mistaken, I have spoken to them because I have, still a rather hefty bunch of CDs that I'm just looking to get $1 for if I can.
Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know. I'll double down with you because I have like 3 metric tons of CDs.
Right. And literally, I talk. I think it was them that I talk. I have their number somewhere under this crap, but and I said, they said, do we have to buy the whole thing? I said, fuck no. Like cherry pick, do whatever you want. But what I really am hoping for, if I could get them, if I could get $100, and I know this is stupid.
You'd be really fortunate.
You can't get big money because let me tell you something. If you had cassettes, these are
CDs though. So
I know, but cassettes are worth stupid money now, and albums are worth stupid money now.
Yeah,
I could see albums making sense, but cassettes, I just can't
it's a new thing. The young kids have discovered cassettes, and they're like, want. You can play it and watch the reels go. Like they're amazed by it.
You need a good player, or else the cassette player is just going to eat your cassette.
Oh, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
The emulsion will come off after the first play on all these.
Right.
Yeah.
I was seeing on NBC News tonight. They were talking about the comeback of for old Kodak cameras, not the disposable ones.
Yeah.
That you advance film ones. They're like all the rage now among the kids. They love it. They're using them.
Right. Yeah, when you go to a wedding, they'll lay them out on a table, and you can.
The pendulum swung over, and now the pendulum is swinging back.
It's passed over CDs for now. I think we'll be dead by the time they make a comeback.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I had so many great albums that I just got rid of. You know, they were worth nothing.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden albums are, you know, you have a serious record collection, it's worth, you retire on that.
Yeah, I can't talk about it.
I
had a serious record collection. It was wrecked in a flood.
Oh.
Yeah, like it's soaked, and so the bottom, you know, of all the records absorbed it, and the white paper sleeves melted into the grooves.
Yeah.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, after I moved back east and was living in Greenwich, I was at a dinner party, and I hear my wife across the table from me say, "Oh, and you know, I was desperate to get rid of everything when we moved, so you know, I threw out all sorts of stuff. I threw out all of Bill's record albums." And I went, "You threw out my record albums?" And the table just went silent. All these people were like, "Oh God, what's going to happen?"
Will's got a fork, you know. He's like,
"Ow!"
That's like your mom throwing out the comic books and the baseball cards. Like,
Yeah,
what?
it's like, how would you
Don't
do
go
it?
there. Don't go there.
There were only two that I thought that happened to not be damaged that I think have any value. One is the original before it got banned, Some Girls cover.
okay.
It has the cutouts with the original people on it.
Yeah.
And the other is, you historians will remember this, there was a company called Adam 8 that tried to market a John Lennon album called Roots.
No way.
And it has a horrible, like, clip art cover. It's yellow with this bad photo of him. It's called Roots. It's basically, they ripped off the tracks of his rock and roll album, like pre-mixed or something. And he got an injunction. He stopped it. It was taken off the shelves. I have one of those are my two biggies that one day I'll walk into a record show one day like, what kind of fortune can I get for these two? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the what they called the Great White Wonder, you know, the Dylan bootleg that really became the Basement tapes, you know, but I had it when it was the original thing. And I had a great bootleg of a Neil Young bootleg from the Field House in Boulder, like the Field House where they would have concerts there. And he was doing like a thing. And these friends of ours from Sweden, you know, like the Swedes just love Neil Young because he just sounds Swedish, you know, like he sounds like he wrote half those songs in the middle of January in the middle of the country.
I was listening to him.
And so I gifted him that, and he very much appreciated. But you know, those bootlegs were big in those days. You know, they were famous,
that's true.
You know.
You remember that when bootlegs of like Dead concerts were a really big deal? You know?
Yeah.
There still are, I think, right?
Everywhere, yeah. I guess you're right. Yeah.
I think most of them are available though digitally. I think.
Right.
And that's a world where the CD world is still up and running. Is, you know, tapes like that. It's much easier to swap CDs than it is to swap vinyl or to swap, you know.
I seem to remember that from many, many years ago that there was an online repository of Grateful Dead bootleg tapes.
Oh,
like you could subscribe to this thing and it would have 1,000 shows.
Chronologically, had a librarian who, like, you know, curated the whole thing.
I actually had a conversation with somebody who watched our totally not nice review of the Grateful Dead. I think it was last week. We did a thing.
Yeah.
We talked about the Dead. We're like, boy, if Dave Lindsay was there, we're like, if you want to make money now, you got to be in a Grateful Dead band. And we were all like, I don't think I can even.
We were not very charitable. No.
No, but I mean, I agree with that 100%. You know, it's like, you know, we won't go into it because I see Randy's already getting hives. But the take your shots, Randy. Take your shots, for Christ's sake. No, but I mean,
they're not bad. I don't get it.
Yeah,
they're not
same
bad.
I
some
don't get it.
you know,
It's
some
like,
of
They're not very fucking good.
yeah, they're perfectly okay, you know, but it's
So
like,
people who like them, people who
God,
don't
beyond
love
like.
them,
Oh,
they're beyond
God.
like, you know. So I have to
I should
say,
be fucking running a mirror under my car every morning to make sure these guys don't come after me.
I give them the same level of respect that I give all the Taylor Swift fans. Like, they obviously love her and they obviously love the Dead, you know, but it's not for me.
Yeah, I mean, the Taylor Swift fans aren't going to get in a VW microbus and drive cross country to see.
I don't know.
Their
No,
parents
they'll
make
get
them-
on a plane and fly to Ireland to see her.
Yeah,
That's
they got on a
weird.
Learjet and buy $1,000 ticket, you know.
yeah.
Different world.
I saw something on TMZ today
Yeah.
I don't normally watch this, but I just happen to be in passing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And there was some incident on a cruise ship that had something to do with Taylor Swift fans, and somebody fell overboard and they didn't come back. And
No way.
And I don't think Taylor Swift was there or had anything to do with it, but it was like a Taylor Swift cruise. And
No
somebody
way.
went
Themed
overboard.
cruise. Well, I think I might
Taylor
have.
Swift cruise.
Wow, it's like,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have her.
Where
It
you
doesn't have
can't
any band.
escape and you can't get off.
That's right.
And
Oh.
Taylor Swift cruise and all
just
the
cast.
music that they're piping in.
Right.
all
The
Taylor
restaurants
Swift.
and the men's
Yeah.
room.
Everywhere.
And you
Yeah.
I
can't
mean, to
leave.
me, if you want me to give up the whereabouts of the rebel camp, put me on a fucking cruise ship. And we'll be about 250 yards out of the harbor, and I'll be like, I'll tell you anything you want to know. Just
Yeah.
let me jump overboard.
Helicopter
Yeah.
me out of here. Yeah.
Yeah,
I could
I'm
not
afraid of
do
them
that,
too.
you know.
Yeah, I just I immediately think of COVID and Legionnaire's disease, and I'm like,
Oh
no,
yeah,
that's
it's,
it.
you know.
It's-
I
I
lived
think
on
of
a
that. I
boat
think
for,
of Leon Klinghoffer. I think of there's a million things.
Oh,
that go
Jesus
wrong.
Christ. Klinghoffer. Well, that was terrorism. I mean,
But it was
I
on a
lived-
cruise ship. You know, if he had been at
it
the
was.
beach,
Okay.
it wouldn't have happened on the beach. You know.
right. Man, I lived on a boat for 20 years, but I've never been on a cruise, and I can't even imagine. Like, I could imagine an Alaska cruise where you're looking at the glaciers or whatnot, the ice, but or Antarctica or the Nile. But, like, I can't imagine going on, like, a Carnival cruise ship, like the
Well,
Love
not
Boat.
Carnival. I've been
You
on
know.
3 and I love them all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where did you go? Where did you
I
go?
did a cruise to nowhere on the QE2,
Yeah.
which was fun as fuck. Here's the kid. This is going to sound horribly snooty.
Okay.
Kind of depends, fellows, on what class in the ship.
yeah,
you get.
totally.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
know, you don't want to be
All
down
ships.
here with geez, there. You knows what I was thinking. Hey, Joe, give me that. Can I have all that corned beef? Pile it on there, pal.
Strike up the accordion and the fiddle. You know.
That was a real quote I heard on a cruise ship. Some guy in shorts and sandals and black socks in front of an Asian server going, "Pile it on there, pal."
That's definitely a third class
think I'm
guy.
friends
he's
with that
definitely
guy.
in third
Those are your
class.
people.
So that was one. The other, I did a Mediterranean cruise on Holland America, which was quite nice. And we
Right.
saved up and we were on that stuff. And it stopped at all sorts of ports I really liked. And I've done a river cruise down the Seine. It's wonderful.
Oh,
Fucking
those
wonderful.
are really popular.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
those
know
are
a lot of
great.
people who've done
If there's
those.
water,
Yeah.
I worked for Tauk for a while. It was the worst job I ever had, I think.
Work for who?
The tour company.
Oh, Talk Tours. I remember them. Yeah. I used to work
yeah.
right across the street from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like their office, if it's the same office you're talking, it's in the bushes, like it's really in the woods. They're
No, I think of them right on the corner of Riverside and the Post Road in Westport.
No, they're not there anymore.
Oh, okay.
Unless they have some little thing there, but they have a big office that's what is that? Not Ridgefield Road, whatever that road is that turns into Route 7. That
Right.
whatever that is.
Is it where Glendenning used to be or something like that?
It could be. I don't
Yeah.
know, but it's in the woods. I mean, it's
Okay.
back there. But they, their tours, their river things, they're like, they look really nice, and some of the thematic stuff, it looks really nice. But I just find it frightening.
Well,
Not as frightening as working in a
if
cubicle.
not done well, it could be torturous. It could be horrible.
Yeah. Well, I went on 3 cruises,
Fucking
and
Klinghoffer, though. Jesus.
Did you like them, Will?
I broke my arm on one, and then my dislocated my shoulder on the second, and like gashed in my toe. I think I talked about the toenail story on the third. And they were all great. I had a really good time.
Moving on from the cruise topic.
Yeah, you were going over a storm or something, and you fell. Or
Well, I just want. I can't wear open-toed shoes. Obviously, I can't wear open-toed
you
shoes.
should not wear them. Don't
I
wear
tripped
them.
over something, and I was like, "Oh man, that really hurt." And then I looked, and I was like, "Oh my god," And there was supposed to be this dolphin swim with the dolphins thing, right?
Oh, I would never.
And I was like, if there's one fucking thing I'm going to do is I'm going to swim with those goddamn dolphins. I don't care what they tell me about it. And they had said, well, whatever you do, you must keep it dry. And I was like, I can't keep it dry.
In the water.
They were like, well, you must find a way to keep it dry. So I found a cabbie. I thought I'll go to a drugstore and pick up, some supplies, bandages, tape, that kind of stuff. So I find a cabbie and I go, I need to go to a drugstore. He takes me to the drugstore, and they sell all they sell is drugs. That's it. It's Mexico. It's in the middle of nowhere, you know. So I said, no. I need like scissors and like, you know,
Gauze.
bandages and one other thing that's made of rubber and is kind of cylindrical that would fit over your toe.
Yeah.
So
They had those, right?
So the other items
It was called a
interesting.
condom, I think.
With that one, we went to. Are we allowed to say that on the air? One of the 8 words you can't
It's far
say.
too late for you.
So yeah. Just
No,
to know,
you
Jam
can't
TV
say it
does
on
support
JMTV.
the use of anyway. No, that was the most interesting thing because we drove to this house way on the edge of town, and there were a couple of women, young women, sitting on the steps, and he went, no. You know, they got up to come over to the truck, and he was like, no.
Yeah,
So
make you forget about your toe. Anyway,
So I had her.
You know, Randy, I
yeah,
had the QE2 as a client. When,
Cunard.
Yeah, Cunard was a client, and when they,
That's
when they
right.
sort of came back, when they came back, it was in like the '80s, like the
Yeah.
early '80s or late '70s, and we got to board it when it was in Harbor, and yes, obviously it's whatever class you're on, but I got to go to the room that's like at the front, not the front, but the front of the residential part.
Yeah, right.
Up and front, and it was like it had like a loft to it. It had a thing, and it was like, talk about your king of the world. Like
Yeah,
you were
right.
in that thing, that would be insane because
$30,000 room. Yeah.
You had your own wind. You had every. It was.
You
like,
had everything. As a matter of fact, they would sell. I thought about it when I didn't think, but I couldn't afford it. I think it was like $100,000 for a year. You
Oh,
would
yeah,
go
right,
around
right.
the world, and they would accommodate everything. You go to every port of call, they take care of everything.
Yeah.
Doctors, food, clothing, all that
Right.
shit. And it seemed kind of interesting. I think it took like 6 months or something, a year maybe. But
right.
and it was like $100,000. It was
Round
not
the
cheap.
world cruise. Yep.
Talk about an adventure to see the world that way, that kind of luxury. Yeah.
Well, the flip side of that is Todd Rundgren once went on a mecca of sorts.
Right.
He bought a round the world airline pass probably from Pan Am or something. He was going through like a meditation mystical thing. So he was like, he was through Tibet and through like went all through Asia, went all through Eastern Europe, went everywhere. And I have to believe there's like, if you have the dough to put it down on the thing, I got to believe there's some efficiency on that. Like I got to believe it's a better deal. If you can put the ante down, I got to believe that it's.
Well,
not-
they had two things. They had a round the world ticket that you could buy, and it wasn't even that much, but you couldn't go backwards. You
Right,
had to,
right.
You had to always end up like
I think that's what he
longitude-wise.
had. I think that's what he had.
You had
You
to like go longitude, like that way or that way.
And he went. He went.
But
west.
then they had lifetime ones. They had lifetime tickets that people bought, like on American United, I think, had a lifetime ticket. And after like 15 years, they're like, we're losing our shirts on these lifetime tickets, and they reneged. They found some legal reason to renege. Yeah.
Wow.
Because they were just spending so much on travel other than the
Right.
ticket and the hotel and all that.
So
makes sense.
yeah, pretty well. Bill Noman, do another song for us, would you please?
Okay. No, I don't know.
Take us around the world on a cruise.
He sounds so sad when he says that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you've heard what's going on here. Hate to say it, but I told you so. Don't mind me preaching to you. I said, don't trust him, baby. Now you know you don't know everything there is to know. I said, don't trust him, baby. Now you know you turn with everything. You don't know everything. Now you know you don't know everything. You know that is in school. Good. Laugh, thought I died. It seems so funny to me. Laugh, you met a guy who taught you how it feels to be lonely. Oh, so lonely. Don't think I'm being funny when I say you got just what you deserve. I can't help feeling you found out today. You thought you were too good, you had a lot of nerve. I won't say I'm sorry for the things I said. I'm glad he packed up to go. You kept on bragging he was yours instead. You found out you don't know all that there is to know. Laugh, laugh, you thought I died. It seemed so funny to me. Laugh, laugh, you met a guy who taught you how it feels to be lonely. Oh, so lonely. Before I go, I'd like to say one thing. Don't close your ears to me. Take my find out and you're about to be just another girl won't cause you misery. Don't say you can't get any boy to call. Don't be so smug or else you'll find you can't get any boy at all. You'll wind up an old lady sitting on the shelf. Laugh, laugh, shall I die? It seems so funny to me. Laugh, laugh, you met a guy who taught you how it feels to be lonely. Oh, so lonely. Lonely. Oh, so lonely.
Beautiful.
Yeah, pretty nice.
Fuck yeah. Where else you gonna hear a Beau Brummels cover?
That's
The most British sounding American band of all time.
It's very funny. After a practice, this is like months ago. Well, it couldn't have been that long ago. I was home.
Right.
Sitting around the end, finally it's down to me and the guitarist, and we're getting high, and we're like calling out to She Who Shall Not Be Named to play songs. And we stumbled onto the Beau Brummels, and we went deep into their catalog. They have a lot of really good songs that I'd never heard. I didn't even know them. And the other thing, and I'll shut up, is the very first concert I went to, the first real concert I went to was Jim Croce opening up for Loggins and Messina. But prior to that, when I was like 7, I tortured and badgered my parents to take me to see Soupy Sales.
No way.
Soupy
Awesome.
Sales.
At
Wow.
Fairfield U.
God.
And the opening act was the Beau Brummels.
Wow.
I saw them. And then we had no idea who this other band was that was the headliners. My father was like, who? Wait, it's not the Beatles. Like, it was the Beach Boys.
No way.
Wow.
We're going home. It's not the Beatles.
We left early. They did like 2 songs, and my dad's like, we're out of here.
That's it. They're too average. They sound too average. Yeah.
Soupy was like one of the greatest influences on my sense of humor of all. He's there with Rocky and Bullwinkle and Higher Sign Theater and a few other things.
Because he was doing a kids show, but the jokes were for adults. Most of them.
Hilarious. Philo Kvetch.
Philo Kvetch. White Fang and Blacktooth and
Papalafaka.
I gotta watch some Soupy Sales later on.
Yeah,
they're all on, not all. There's a lot of them on YouTube.
And Soupy's 2 kids, Hunt and Tony,
Tin
they
Machine.
were in Todd Rundgren's first band. They were not Nas, but his first solo band. And they played also with
Bowie.
Glass, the Bowie band.
Tin Machine.
Tin Machine, is it?
I think it was Tin Machine.
Maybe they were in Tin Machine too. And they were like a badass. They were a very badass rhythm section, and they had a great look. They had like skunk hair.
Yeah.
And like
Bowie, I think, did 1 or 2 albums as a trio, just those 3 guys.
Yeah. And they were Soupy Sales kids?
Yeah. Hunt and Tony, yeah.
Yeah. But they could play. They were, and they played with Rundgren and they played with Bowie. It's like, that's not
right.
No, wow.
It's a pretty good
resume for you.
That's a weird twist I didn't expect to hear anyplace else.
Now, is there anyone here, maybe Dave, that's old enough to remember Sandy Becker?
Oh yeah,
of course.
So who's Sandy Becker?
And Sonny Fox.
Yeah, and Sonny Fox, you know, and
Sonny
Chuck
Fox
McCann.
was a stripper.
and Tom McCann, yeah. Sandy Becker, for me, that was like part of my go to school routine. I watched Sandy Becker before I went to school, like when I was in elementary.
What's Sandy Becker? What's Sandy Becker?
He's a guy that had, you know, this was a kid show that was for kids. There was nothing about it, but I love busting my friend Rich Pagano as well, who grew up in I don't know, Huntington or something, you know, because Sandy Becker had like these local commercials, and the commercials were always for Giroux grenadine syrup, you know, like whatever the fuck that is. And then my favorite was Uncle Mike's Animal Park, Uncle Mike Grimaldi's Animal Park in Massapequa Park, you know, and like I just love to be able to drop like Massapequa Park in like a sentence, you know. It's just like, yeah, you mean like in
somewhere out there. This will be another one of Randy's follow-ups. That I've started this thread where I'm sending videos to you guys. There's a blooper reel of Sandy Becker, and it's fucking hilarious. And he's doing the live commercials. I think one's like Silly Putty, and the other one's Twinkies. He goes, and you can play with it right here, you little fucking bastards. This ought to keep you fucking happy. Like, it's fucking hilarious.
Is that the one with like the famous, that ought to hold the little bastards?
That one. That was Bozo, I think.
Bozo. I used to watch Bozo. Yeah.
Well, we all watch Bozo.
Bozo, my grandfather sold the farm to Bozo.
He sold what?
Yeah, as my grandfather, Bozo actually lived in Delaplane, Virginia, and where my grandfather lived, and he had some land he wanted to sell off that was part of his back land. And what's Bozo's real name? You know, he was the weatherman. Wilfred Scott. Wilfred.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was Bozo? No, wait, that wasn't Bozo.
He was the first Ronald McDonald. I think.
I didn't know he was Bozo. Willard Scott.
All I know is that Granddad would refer to, you know, let's invite that clown guy for dinner.
Yeah. Hey, where'd you get this land? He's asked some fucking bozo sold it to me.
He probably sold him some like Virginia swampland or something.
Yeah. I didn't know Willard Scott was. It's Willard Scott, right? He was Bozo and Ronald McDonald.
I'm pretty sure
part
he
I hadn't heard.
The first Ronald McDonald.
Yeah, that part I hadn't heard about.
It's a really sad looking picture of him too. It's like they took string around one of those French fry boxes and they made that his clothes.
Oh, this
was genius marketing back then. You know,
He was also the first Attorney General of the UN, which a lot of people didn't know that. Also,
Bozo was. It was in Bozo. I knew that. That makes sense actually. Yeah,
and he do it in costume. Like that's the Bozo to me. I understand now why my daughter was frightened to death of clowns, because it's not a big leap from like Bozo to something really creepy, you know.
Right. Yeah, it's true.
The difference between Bozo and Michael Meyer, it's not that.
Right.
Yeah. All you need to do is just let the grease paint.
It's one of the reasons one of my favorite Simpsons characters is Krusty.
Krusty the Clown.
Oh, he's got the cigarette.
You kids don't understand.
So my godfather was one of the producers on Captain Kangaroo. How do you like that?
Now that's some cred.
That was a thing back then. Yeah.
Oh no, it was a huge thing.
Captain Kangaroo.
Captain Kangaroo was kind of a weird, creepy looking character himself. You know,
it was a little odd.
I didn't get that.
You look at photos of him now, and you're like, "What was happening then?"
And Mr. Green Jeans and
Mr. Green Jeans. I think he didn't want to go out to the barn with Mr. Green Jeans.
Hey kids, you want to go out and see some bulls? You ever seen a grown cow naked?
Like gladiator movies, Johnny.
Yeah, that's
unbelievable. Will Baird, save us. Can you do one for us?
I could try. Yeah,
that'd be great.
On the farm theme.
What do you got?
My TV hero.
There it is.
talking during that? Fess up.
I heard things.
Oh, I don't know who that could have been.
Something was bleeding. Was it Bill?
No, I was muted. I was playing guitar.
No, it was Randy.
I was going to say, I think it might have been me, but I thought you had me muted.
I thought I did too.
Oh, I was trying to find the Sandy Becker clip.
Yeah, I heard.
First, I got
I was like, "Is that my cat?"
No, that was me.
First, I got the big clam up towards the front in the song, and then I hear that, and I'm like, "Oh, that's okay."
Sorry.
Then that makes my mistake.
I thought I was muted. I never would have. I'm sorry.
I didn't hear the clam, but I heard Randy. I was like, "Is there something going on?"
I charged extra for the clams.
Yeah, actually, you should thank me. Then I covered up your clams. So
That's right, you did. Yeah, that sounds like a strange euphemism, but that's a Jam TV moment. That's this is what
I'm
makes us
sorry.
special.
I would not have done that.
It's no problem.
Problem is
I
about
had clams in the first two measures of like my first song tonight than you have had in your whole time on here. It's fun. It's fun, like playing it in a different key. Like that's not the key that it's in. The normal thing, and it was fun playing along, like being in a different key. And I've heard this funny story where Jimmy Webb was talking about. He got a phone call from James Taylor, and James Taylor was saying like, this song is it seems to be in the key of F, but it never hits F. Like, what the fuck, And Jimmy Webb says, yes, that's correct. It's in the key of F, but it doesn't go to F,
Yeah,
like,
there's never a root. Yeah.
A funny story about that, if I may, a Holly story. My mother-in-law loves Glenn Campbell. Like, she's 90. She's coming to see us at Sunset Grill with Holly, and I had said to the band in advance, she's coming. Could we pull off a Glenn Campbell song? We had first settled on "Gentle on My Mind" until Holly wrote back, "These lyrics never end. There's too many lyrics." I was like, right. So let's do Wichita. Okay, I practiced it. We know that song. We don't really need to practice it live first. Let's just do it. And we all assumed original key, and we stepped out. The poor girl. It was. She had two choices. I am the line before. I am. And she fucking did it, but she had to do it so like she was stomping her foot. She was doing it so high. She hit it.
Oh my God!
Is that the song that is in F but doesn't hit the F? Is that the
Actually,
song?
the bass does hit F. It does, but basically, I think I'm probably the only instrument that does.
That's right. It starts out with the symphony.
That's B flat to A. I think that B flat to A.
Yeah, the whole treatment is very symphonic. I mean, other than his solo, it's all symphony.
To me, what makes that song more than as much as Campbell and the song itself, the fucking string arrangements on that song are just lush.
They're really
beautiful.
Pretty. Yeah, it's a great
the
tune.
flugelhorn solo's pretty nice too.
You could fart that tune and it would sound great. I mean, that's a really great song.
Great, Mark, MTV. Right.
I think I heard this before that,
fuel up for that one, man. But yeah,
Jimmy Webb thought that he thought it needed a bridge, and he's wrong. But he always meant for it to have a bridge somewhere along the line. But it's so fucking great, that song.
And the way it goes out, just the way it
the way it just keeps kind of blending out there.
Yeah, that thing.
It's funny because Glenn Campbell has such a strong identity, and yet I don't think he wrote any of his songs. Did he?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't think
I don't think he wrote. No, but Dionne Warwick, Frank Sinatra, it's like.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, nobody did, and then now everybody.
He apparently was known for being the guy that obviously was in the Wrecking Crew and hung with all those pros, but he was the one guy that couldn't read.
Yeah,
is that right? Couldn't read music or couldn't read.
Couldn't read music.
Couldn't read. I couldn't read.
There's a great movie on Netflix of his family. He was in sort of mid-stage Alzheimer's, and they found that when he played music for people, that it seemed to improve his cognition. So they took him on tour. and he's
Might as well make some money.
Yeah, exactly.
We got one more
make
shot.
some money off of Daddy.
Yeah.
Sing, Daddy, sing.
You're going to remember to sign your name at the back of this check, aren't you? Yeah.
He's sitting in the corner at home drooling, and they're
But
like,
he's,
come on, we're going on tour, Grandpa.
But he does at one point. He does there was a clip. His daughter is kind of keeping an eye on him. She sort of keeps him in line, and he just does this. I can't remember which tune it was, but he does this incredibly fast flat picking solo. That's just a classic Glenn Campbell showing off, unbelievable solo, as if he was perfectly normal, no Alzheimer's, just completely together.
Is that like at the end of Galveston? Because he does some wicked ass fucking guitar at the end of Galveston. Like when
Could be. It's fast though. This was something that was like really like, how is he doing that so quickly? And then he finishes it and he says, "Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Our next song is going to be," and he announces the same song again. And his daughter says, "Daddy, we just did that one." And he says, "Oh, okay. Well, then let's start. Let's do so." He like gets right back on his feet. He says, "Let's do this one then."
Gotta hand it to him though.
I mean, there's great videos of him sitting with like Roy Clark and guys like that.
I've seen those. Yes,
they're not sexy. Like like people who aren't musicians like think it's not sexy, but when you watch these guys play and
oh my god, yeah.
There's one where he's. I think the rest of the cats have acoustics, and he just has a Strat that's not plugged into anything.
Right,
and he's just playing the Strat. It's killer.
So were they on Hee Haw a lot? Right, they were. That's
he had his own
I don't think he was.
He had his own show.
Smothers Brothers, I know.
Oh yeah, okay, right. But I feel like I saw those guys or that level of musicianship on Hee Haw a bunch.
Well, you would see great musicians on Hee Haw, but Glenn Campbell himself, like he was more in like the mainstream stuff.
Right.
But his show
wasn't on Hee Haw
popular.
And he was in a class by himself.
Yeah.
Nobody could touch him. Guitar playing, music, singing, picking up women. I mean, he had like 12 wives. The guy was an incredible guitar player.
Well, the real,
as you can tell,
with him was the singing, because a lot of guys play. Honestly, there were Louis Shelton was a great guy from the Wrecking Crew, and he played the solo in the Monkey song Valerie. And he.
Oh, that's him.
And
I just heard that the other day. I was wondering who that was.
He produced Summer Breeze for Seals and Crofts, and he played the guitar solo on the Boz Scaggs song. Whatever that fucking song is, but I mean, they could play, but they couldn't sing like him, and they didn't look like him, and they didn't have like shucks personality like he did.
Right.
He had a very compelling thing going on, man.
There's a very touching video. I guess it was right after he died. His neighbor was Alice Cooper, and apparently Campbell and Alice Cooper were like really fast friends, and would hang. This is apparently before Alice went sober and started going to church, because apparently Alice is now sober and goes to church.
Yeah.
But he's got great stories of going around town with Glenn and what a bad boy they each were and stuff. It's cute the way they were from totally different genres. Like we're pro musicians. Come on, man. Let's
They were golfers.
They both, but they had, and yet they, completely different genres, but they had a ton in common. I mean, if you're a musician, you're a musician. You speak the same language. You understand.
Can you imagine walking into a bar with women and it's Alice Cooper and Glenn Campbell? I mean, you're going to get some attention.
We got something for everybody here.
They're going to know one of you or the other, right?
Yeah.
So a priest, a cop, and a lover walk into a bar, and there's
I've yet
Alice.
to see any like video of Alice talking about stuff where he doesn't come off like a super nice fucking guy.
Right. And that film I sent you guys, that hired gun thing.
Yeah.
He comes off like he's the fucking CEO of a company. He's like really rational, good.
And he's the only guy.
Hey guys.
Hey Frank.
Hey Frank. He's the only guy of all those guys that had no interest in holding his guys back, and he seemed like maybe he paid them a little bit better than everybody else's, because I was just.
He didn't talk about it. He didn't get in the way of them doing a career thing. Yeah. But I'm sure that those guys were still needing government cheese every now and again. It was just one of those kind of things.
I guess. But I mean, he was more. He was more corporate. Like in.
That's what I mean. Yeah, he's run a business. He's an entertainer.
Corporate, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a snake around my neck, but hold on, where's my P&O in the meantime?
Yeah.
I mean, I
P&L on my desk in the morning.
I was able to, a friend of mine opened for the Doobie Brothers for a couple of nights in a row in Springfield. And, at one time I found myself in a hotel room. I'm sitting between Mike McDonald and Keith Knudsen smoking a doobie with the friggin' Doobie Brothers. It was kind of cool.
Imagine that.
That fucking band, they had 401ks. They had like,
Yeah, right.
you're at a certain
You're like,
strata.
can somebody check the stock, please, and
You
tell me
don't
how the
have
market's
to-
doing?
You're not wasting all the money on hookers and bullshit.
Right.
They're kind of past that. And particularly when Alice goes sober, that certainly increases your ability to make decent decisions, I would think.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow. All right,
Yeah,
Will
I mean,
Bear, do you want more for us? Would you?
Sure.
We're gonna
I think I could do
keep
that.
the conversation going.
Oops, wrong song. There we go. Okay. I'm allowed one restart each season. Is that you guys or me? That's somebody out there. This is me.
Awesome.
Okay, so
Very nice.
are
Will,
you-
Excellent.
Will, you're speaking my language.
Nice.
When I meet you, my friend, keep that cut.
It's so funny that a lot of us haven't met in person, or some
That
of
is
us
true.
It
haven't.
is true. Like
It's
the
true.
DR and I get you. You know, I get you,
We've
man.
only spent hundreds of hours on the air. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would.
I mean, it was nice that Randy and I were able to get into the same room, and the roof didn't cave in, so that
That
was
is
a
true.
positive.
Yeah, no
I-
lightning. Yeah, no
Yeah.
lightning, Frank. No nothing.
I almost came. I was in town, and I almost came.
That would have been pretty funny.
Yeah,
That would have been funny, yeah.
We would have had to do a pop-up version of Jam TV at that point.
Oh yeah.
This is Jam TV live from.
Castle. Yeah, I was in town. I was in Greenwich, and I was like, it's the traffic, and then I chickened out. I don't know. I shouldn't have.
It is so easy it was half an hour of no highways and back roads for you to get there.
Right.
Wonderful.
Oh, I forgot about how over there you have one way to go. It's like you take the highway, or that's it. You can't. You
Well,
know,
there's
you
the
walk.
Merritt Parkway that's not often better, and there's a lot of construction going on. And,
Yeah, and there's
the
no, other than the post
overpacked.
road, that's it. You know?
Well, it's so overcrowded now. Fairfield County is just so unbelievably overcrowded. Not where you are, Randy, but
I know.
from the Greenwich line up to where you are, Frank. It's like a traffic jam all day long.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's horrific. I mean, we go down there. My folks are still down, that side of Fairfield County.
Right.
And whenever we go down, it doesn't matter what day we go.
Yeah,
it's
or what
just,
time.
Or what time.
Yeah.
Just plan on it being an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
And
You
I
just
was
look at
gonna
each other. Can you believe it's like 2:00 on a Tuesday and I'm stuck on the Merritt? Jesus Christ.
Right.
yes.
Yeah, rush hour starts at 2:00.
Yeah.
That was the joke's on you. That's they started.
That's true.
They moved
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah.
There was a funny posting from Kim where she posted something, a picture of a traffic jam, and she says, "It takes an hour to get to Stamford from Stamford."
Exactly.
Well, David, it's got to be like that where you are. Isn't California traffic or LA traffic bad?
Yes, it's crazy. And I do understand when you guys talk about the Merritt Parkway, and I see people on Facebook complaining about it. And having been there recently, right, February and September, oh man, it's crazy, guys. Yeah.
Well, when I commuted, I lived in Weston, in Lower Weston, of Lions Plains Road, and I commuted to Stanford every day, and it took me well over an hour every day to get to my office.
Jesus, from Weston.
And that was 100 years ago. That was a long
Yep.
time ago.
But on the flip, when I lived in Norwalk, I lived in Rowayton, and my office was in Westport. It took me 5
nothing.
minutes to get there. Like
Nothing. Yeah.
it's really a morning. It's directional, and
Oh, yeah.
if you're heading what I call east, what they call north, if you're heading that direction in the morning, it's a groove. But coming
Yeah,
back, man,
but in the afternoon, it's always and it's been getting worse actually lately, and especially this time of year because in the morning you've got the sun either, it's in your face,
Yeah.
depending on which way you're going.
Yeah,
so,
right.
So you're screwed even on a reverse commute because people are driving into the sun and they're blinded.
Yep. Well, I get that out here in PA. I go down 84 when the sun is setting. The sun is literally between the road and your eyeball. Like you can't. There's no
Yeah.
way.
No,
see
you
a
can't
thing.
get the visor just
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Hey.
No way to do it.
You need those eclipse goggles. you
Right.
know?
Yeah, yeah. There is no visor angle that'll get you there.
Nope.
That's crazy. Frank, what do you got for us? You gonna do a song?
Sure, I can do a song here.
I'm sure you can.
I'll certainly give it a shot here.
All right.
I don't think I've done this one before here. We'll find out. I'm sure,
We're gonna find
I'm
out.
sure the Jam TV
In the
police will let
TV.
me know.
No, wait, you've done that one. I recognize it.
This one I have to play all the time because it's one of the few songs with my wife's name in it. So
Right.
let us be lovers. We'll marry our fortunes together. I've got some real estate here in my bag. Bought a pack of cigarettes, Mrs. Wagner pies, and we walked off in search of America. Kathy eyes it as we boarded the Greyhound to Pittsburgh. Michigan seems like a dream to me now. It took me 4 days to hitchhike from Saginaw. I've come to look for America. I've come to look for America. Laughing on the bus, playing games with the faces. She said the man in the gabardine suit was a spy. I said, be careful, his bow tie is really a camera. Toss me a cigarette, I think there's one in my raincoat. We smoked the last one an hour ago. Stared at the scenery, read her magazines, and the moon rose over an open field. Kathy, I'm lost, I said as I knew she was sleeping. I'm empty, I'm aching, and I don't know why. Counting the cars on the New Jersey Turnpike, we've all come to look for America. All come to look for America. I'll come to look for America.
Very nice.
Very good, Frank.
Thank you.
Hard
Really
song.
nice.
Thank you.
Really nice.
Can't sing.
That is a
No,
hard,
that
that's a
was
hard
cool,
song.
man. That was
Hard
cool.
to play and sing,
Great
bro.
song.
Good.
That's one of the most beautiful songs too.
Yes.
Yeah, that is
Yeah, I like that
And
one.
your
Nice.
wife's
That's
name
cool.
is Mrs. Wagner, is that right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So you've solved your microphone being too quiet, but now it distorts a little bit when you go for it.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll back the gain down a tick.
Tiny bit, yeah, but phenomenal. Super good.
It's always something.
You're playing a lot, right? What do you got this week? What are you doing?
This week, where am I? I actually got to take a look at the schedule. I got one coming up on, let's see, where the hell am I? I'm going to be playing actually a debut show on Friday at a place called Valor Wines in North Haven, which
All
is
right.
a little winery, a little hole-in-the-wall kind of place. And then, let's see, what else have I got coming up?
Nice.
Then I got a Sunday gig where? Or do I? No. I'm sorry.
That's it.
Then
That's all.
So Friday night Valor Wines, and then Saturday night I'll be playing up at the Little Pub in Old Saybrook.
Nice.
Nice.
So
How many little pubs are there?
Oh, the actual little pub. Yeah,
17.
right. Are
Is
there
that
really?
No, I think
There
there's like
are a
4.
lot. Yeah.
There's a lot. Yeah.
I'm pissed off because Marnix. Anybody ever go to our Marnix back in the day? There was it was in Lordship. So if you get off the highway in Bridgeport and Lordship, you go by the airport and you go down to the water. There was a diner on the beach, like one of the very few places in Connecticut where you can literally be eating and the window is right, the sand is right outside the window and right on the sound. Beautiful little spot, but it was like you could get a $3 hamburger. It was like old-fashioned diner and an old-fashioned motel, and people would come from New York and like go to the motel and eat at the diner or whatever, but they closed and now it's a little pub. So
Oh,
Figure
out
it
there
out,
it
yeah.
is.
Okay.
Did they ever like do, like I went one, I was going to a friend of mine's wake, and he was a guy that like had something to do with Oxford Medical, so they had a jet, and we took off from that place in Bridgeport.
Sikorsky, yeah.
Chargers, you,
I used to fly out of there. Yeah.
you get up in the air over there and you look down, and it's like Bridgeport is the most amazingly awesome coastline. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
just
yeah,
gorgeous,
that's true.
You know, it
Yeah,
looks like
yeah.
you could be Rhode Island anywhere except you need a little surf, but anyway, other than that, but
There
it's
used
like
to be an
it
amusement
seemed
park
like it
out
was-
there. Yeah.
Well, it just seemed like it was all raised, like razed, as in torn down, except there was this one building that was kind of in the middle of it all that seemed like it had, I don't know whether they wouldn't sell or they did something, but I haven't taken notice of that. What's there now? What's like?
It used to be a amusement park. I think the carousel is still there, or the main building in the amusement park is still out on the beach there, and you can walk to it.
But that's got nothing to do with the place where they have the music festival, though, right?
No, that's not near
No.
there. Yeah, in fact, you can't even get there. They were going to build a casino. Trump was going to build a casino there like 15 years ago, but it never happened. State wouldn't do it or whatever. It's a gorgeous piece of property. You know, it's out on the water.
No, it is.
And
there's a shitload of land there.
When I was learning to fly, I did a lot of flights into Bridgeport and did touch and goes and crosswind training. And it's a fun little airport. You're coming right over the water where the Housatonic meets the Sound. It's really gorgeous down there.
I saw an air show there once, and I was hoping it was going to be like, annual. And I don't know that there was ever another one there, but it was so long ago. My kid, who's 30 now, was like little, and we got to board a B-17. And
I think I was there at that. Yeah, it was like, the late 90s, wasn't it?
Periodically, they've had it, and they have Corsairs, F4U Corsairs, and they have B-25 Mitchells because they built them there. They built those airplanes in Bridgeport.
Oh,
They also had one of those things where they had one of those stunt planes that's like all wings, like all these skinny wings, and the guy's maneuver was to do the 12 slots of the clock to do that. And then they had a race between something in the air and something that was like, like a Bonneville salt flat kind of thing on the thing. And it was like, this was like super fucking cool. And I was hoping they'd do it more often, but I don't know that they ever did it again. It was like so fun.
Way back in the day, I used to fly to Chicago out of Sikorsky Airport. There was a little airline called Air Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
And they had these teeny little jets that you couldn't believe they're jets. They looked like Fisher-Price toys.
Right.
And I could barely fit on the fucking thing. But you know what? At the time, I lived in Black Rock, and I was stepping off that plane and home in 20 minutes. It was a beautiful thing.
Easy.
Yeah,
and the parking was
pay for
free.
Convenience.
The parking was free, and Continental used to operate out of there later, and you could fly they went from there. You check your bag. You'd walk 20 steps from your car into the terminal, and then 20 steps to the airplane. You've checked your bag and gone through security in 5 minutes, and you hop on a little puddle jumper, and you ended up in Philadelphia, which is a continental hub, and then you're already on the gate. You're already
they would do Boston, Philly, and D.C. on the
right.
They had a lot of
out of Westchester, they still do stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Westchester, they still do those little short hop deals.
They do.
And
You
certainly
can
beats the hell out
fly
of
to
going to
Florida
LaGuardia.
from Westchester. You can fly to Florida, but you can also fly to a hub, and boom, you're anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, you can fly to Ohio from Westchester. I mean, the Westchester is so, because I used to drive a lot of people to the airport, and Westchester was always so awesome, except it is completely weather contingent. And
That's right. You
weather
get stuck
there can be fog. It can
we used to call it the birthplace of fog.
It's a very foggy area, man. And my daughter was coming in from Columbus, Ohio, because she went to school out in Ohio. And, I'm there to get her. And then suddenly they do this thing. It's like, it's being diverted to Philadelphia.
She's in Newark. Yeah, right.
And I'm like, okay. And, I'm Philadelphia. It's 2 hours. I can fucking do that. But then, because they're kids, because they're resourceful in a certain way, as long as there's a credit card behind it, it's like they Ubered instead. They're like 5 of them got an Uber, and
Oh my God!
I never would have thought of that.
Wow, boy!
No, we would have hitchhiked, for fuck's sake.
Same way I got to California.
Frank, you got one more for us?
Sure, why not?
Let's hear it.
We'll find out.
So this is a newer tune. This is kind of a throwback band. They're kind of under the radar right now. They're called the Red Clay Strays, and it's a really, really interesting band. It's kind of a mix of the Allman Brothers meets like old school Merle Haggard meets I don't know, just a little bit of like down home bluegrass kind of stuff. So kind of neat. They're definitely worth checking out. They got a really cool song that I'm working on. It's kind of like a mix of two of my favorite songs, which is Blue Sky by the Allman Brothers Band and The Weight, or Blue Sky and The Weight. So they got a cool tune, No One Else Like Me, but I'm not going to do that one because I don't know the words yet. This is called Wondering Why. She comes from Silver School, Bowling Rule, private school, Neverland, Sunday church. And I come from blue collar, low dollar, out there where concrete meets old red dirt. I don't know what happened, but it sure don't add up on paper. But when I close my eyes late at night, you can bet I thank my maker. She keeps on loving me, love me the way I am. She's not along for the ride, she's my biggest fan. And it's a little old piece of heaven when we lay down at night. She keeps on loving me, and I keep on wondering why. She's got a wicked smile, angel eyes, every guy he wants to hold her close. She's as pretty as sin, like the sun sinking down on the California coast. She keeps on loving me, loving me the way I am. She's not just along for the ride, she's my biggest fan. And it's a little old piece of heaven when we lay down at night. She keeps on loving me, and I keep on wondering why. Oh, yeah. Oh. Don't know what happened, it sure don't add up on paper. As long as she lets me, I'll take her wherever she wants me to take her. She keeps on loving me, loving me the way I am. She's not just along for the ride, she's my biggest fan. And it's a little old piece of heaven when we lay down at night. She keeps on loving me, I keep on wondering why. She keeps on loving me, and I keep on wondering why.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
Phenomenal.
That was great.
So I got a funny story about that song too, because I was doing a gig last week at this local Bucket of Bud around the corner, and it was just one of those nights, we've all been there, where it doesn't matter what you're playing, they don't fucking care. Just nothing. Old stuff, bupkis, new stuff, fuck off. You know,
Right.
crowd
Oil
pleasers. Fucking Sweet Home Alabama, nothing.
They
you know,
look at
just
you
one
like
of
you're
those.
an idiot, right?
Yeah, and you're just and whatever. I mean, they're having fun. They're not leaving. They're just not
Interested.
You're a ghost.
Yeah,
Or,
right.
I mean, what am I a fucking? What am I a mirage?
gigs.
That bit from Goodfellas.
Yeah, I hate
so
You're a
anyway,
jukebox, yeah.
yeah. So these two guys walk in, and I happen to notice that one of them has a concert shirt from this band, the Red Clay Strays, and I thankfully had not played that song yet. So like the next song I finish up, I'm like, hey man, nice shirt. And I play that song. And I had those two guys eating out of the palm of my hand. And they basically helped turn the whole place around and get everybody else kind of involved.
Nice.
I ended up getting a bunch of tips out of it. They followed me on Facebook or whatever.
There it is.
So, just a neat little, again, situational moment where it's like you look around, you see something, you pull that in to try and engage the crowd, and it's better to be
try.
lucky than good.
Yeah, don't give up. Never give up. Never say
Oh, no.
die.
No, absolutely.
I used to use baseball stuff with my buddy Warren. We do these trio gigs, and they wouldn't respond to anything. And I would be like, Warren, try the slider. You know, who'd do his tongue no response, like, give him a knuckleball. See what, throw him a fastball. Like, Jesus, you know. And then finally I did that rude comment. I think Rodney Dangerfield says, like, hey, what is this, an audience or an oil painting? They didn't like that. They didn't like that. That did not help.
Yeah, they usually don't.
But I mean, you know, I think that when you're playing solo in particular, it's, you know, you're really looking for a hook out there somewhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You play a million times. I played a million gigs where, like, country club gigs, like even as recently as like this past month, where you get nothing, and then at the end, all these people come up and tell you how much they liked it, but there wasn't. Full of applause. There was nothing, and you didn't find that.
Yeah, but they were drinking. Like, I love it when you're like, I got one more song for you. You play that song, and they all dance and have a great time, and they're cheering. And you're like, where were you all night?
Yeah.
Wait for you to stop.
It's like we do what we do, and you know that you're not sucking. You know,
Right.
and it's like in a parallel dimension, you're going over like fucking crazy somewhere else. But it's like, you just do what you do, but it is so funny that one person, one table, one something can change the whole dynamic. And if not,
it can bring up the whole room.
Way for the place, it can change like your feeling about the whole thing, because now you have somebody. To, and now, like, you had a great thing. You had the T-shirt, and you had the song. It's like, that's fucking.
That's it. You need one person, one girl or guy, and they're in the back, and they're like sitting there and looking at you like, wow, you are amazing. Like, why isn't nobody noticing? And you're like, I see you. You're speaking to me.
Right. Yeah, I had a similar thing the night when I played over at the Casa when Randy was there, and this trio came in, these two girls and a guy. And for whatever reason, I was able to connect with this one girl, and she's basically just salsa dancing all by herself right in front of the stage.
She was cute. She had long hair, and she got up and she was doing a sexy, cool dance. Like, there you go, Frank's got it now.
That's the win.
Yeah. And you notice all the guys at the bar just kind of slightly turned.
Thank God she was right in front of me, so I didn't have to act like I was catching a glance. I was just
And you were still within the court order, I think, at that point. Right?
That's right. Yeah. You still had the thing on your ankle, didn't you? Yeah.
Put you away again.
Yeah. Yes, well, I got a funny story about that kind of a thing too. Speaking of court, this is back when my old man was driving a race car for a hobby, and we went to this one particular track in, I don't know, somewhere in New England, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, whatever. And so we were set up there's the pit area and the grandstand area. Right, and there's a chain link fence with a gate that goes back and forth between the two. Where we happened to set our trailer and car up was directly in front of an ice cream truck that was on the spectator side of the grandstand fence. And there was this, 19 or 20-year-old girl wearing a pair of delightful shorts that were just the perfect, the perfect depth. You could just see a little kind of crescent moon. Right. On each side, and for whatever reason, the drivers' meeting for the club happened right in front of our car. And just so we had like 30 people like hanging around our car, and they were just guys that were taking turns going in. She must have made $500 off of the club, where just guys were going in and just buying ice cream. No, the one in the back. Yeah. And, so she'd have to lean all the way in, and everybody at the car would just. And the hubbub of conversation would never dim, but just everybody would just kind of like be talking.
Yeah.
Yep, and she knew it.
If she didn't, she was breathtakingly dense. But
breathtakingly dense.
But yeah,
good name for a band.
She turned up. They were in the black that night for the ice cream truck. I guarantee you.
That's a good one. All right, guys, that's about it. Who's got gigs to plug? Get your last word in.
I've got
I hit my
the girls' breast cancer benefit tomorrow night at the Horseshoe.
Very nice.
Pink pledged. Cool. I had a gig on Saturday night, but the booker double booked and pulled it. They also double booked and pulled a gig that I had in middle of November. So
how the fuck do you do that?
Now I got a question.
Well, actually, and I'm going to protect the guilty. I'm not going to mention venue or any of that stuff. But what do you guys think? 5 cancellations in less than 1 year?
Yeah, to me that's
from
like,
the same place.
Yeah.
Well,
just same
by
booker.
Accident.
Same
right?
booker. You're right, Ed. Yeah.
I tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
That was.
I think Holly said something similar.
Yeah. Holly's right.
but with a southern accent, so it sounded charming.
With a vicious.
Yeah, and I think there's a bless your heart somewhere in there too, right?
That's right. Yes, Fred,
Bless
definitely.
your heart and go fuck yourself.
Super good.
Tell me you're
Well,
saying
I got
fuck
that,
off
and
without
then,
saying fuck off.
Next weekend, I've got the girls at the Black Duck November 1st, and then Toon Scott with Holly at the Gaelic Club November 2nd.
Nice.
There you go.
I've got a
Super
country club gig on Saturday with the band Cover Story
Where?
at the New Canaan Country Club. I'm sorry,
Oh.
any of you are invited. I'm sorry.
I was almost on that
Pardon
gig.
fucking me.
but
I
not
have
really.
a current
you
membership. Yes.
came this close to being on that gig, and then I sent Ed the set list just saying like this could happen, because neither the keyboard player nor Neil Curry could make it, or a bunch of people couldn't make it. And then I have a weird gig next week from what's today, a week from tomorrow, which is a Halloween gig at Magic 5, and
Okay.
in a parallel dimension, like if this were like 30 years ago, I was like Halloween gig, yeah. But a Halloween solo guy gig at a place.
Yeah, it doesn't.
What
sound
night is
fun.
that? What night is it?
Yeah.
It's Halloween. It's Thursday night.
Thursday night Halloween.
Yeah, and I mean,
I see it
Like you
I
could
got
almost
ask.
put it on a calendar.
Let's all
well,
promote the
people-
shit out of
the
that
people
and
say,
make
like,
it a thing.
Well, the people who don't have kids will be there, and I go like, yeah, that's my concern. It's the people who don't have. If that's all that it is, it's people who don't have kids. Then
You're gonna drink,
I may have
drink
to
like fish.
songs or something.
Well, I mean, that place could be a destination just because it's right by. It's literally across from the train station. So I
Right.
mean, you could get the college kids coming down from there, and they don't have to worry about driving back.
Right.
Well, to me,
know?
the Halloween is the factor that makes it different for me because I'm not playing Monster Mash. Like I'm not doing.
Oh, you think?
No, but I am playing spooky. But I mean, I'm not playing. It's like no Monster Mash on a solo guitar. That's just like
Yeah, I know.
No,
Right.
yeah, that tends to end badly.
Yeah.
That's everybody's go-to. It's
But
so bad.
Bill, you can do Werewolves of London.
There you go.
Yeah.
You can do
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
Come on
You can
now.
do that.
Come on. Do some Warren Zevon.
yeah, I could do that. That I could.
Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
That ain't a bad one.
Get it together. All right, I'm gonna see if I get some people down for that show for you, Bill.
That's
That sounds
on,
like a
that's on my
plan.
list too. Well, I mean, it's a great place. I love the place. I'm happy to play there. And Ray who runs the booking there with like an iron fist. And, I feel fortunate to get in there every 3 months,
Yeah,
Right.
likewise.
Well, I
Yeah,
bet
it's a great little joint to play, but it's tough to nail those gigs down in that place.
Well, it's like it all comes through a single conduit. And, it's a conduit who happens to have many acquaintances in the business.
There it is.
And
Yeah,
because of that,
yeah, he knows.
you're
a lot
just
of
in
people to
line
play.
with everybody else, regardless of how you go over or regardless of, when you go in there and people say, hey, when are you playing here again? And you go like, well, I can't answer that.
Someday,
Yeah.
Yeah,
next season.
that's well, that's and that's the joy of it. I mean, just to what Randy was alluding to. I mean, there are certain points, there are certain options where basically you have to deal with gatekeepers, for want of a better term.
Yeah.
And just and that can go well, or that could go not as well.
Yeah. Do you want it or not? It's otherwise I'm going to be sitting home, going deep
Well, I mean,
into YouTube.
to me, I'll almost always take it. There are some situations I won't take it. Some
Yeah.
situations where I don't want to play with the people. I
Yeah.
just.
Yeah.
I,
Oh, that's different. That's different. Yeah.
You could not pay me enough to play with it, but to me, when it's a venue thing, I'll almost always take it because I'm selling. Like I'm just
Right.
Yeah.
I'm selling the wares. And it's like But to me, I just feel like a Halloween gig. It can be so specific, and then my wife's like, oh, you got to dress up as a devil or do something, and I'm like,
Yeah.
really? Do I have to do that? And then
I could read
Yeah.
that
I'm thinking
wrong.
like, okay,
I did one.
I'm going to go
I
as
did
a
one
bitter
2
old
years-
musician is what I'm going to go as. How about that?
Right.
Yeah.
there it
I
is.
did one 2 years ago, and the whole band was dressing up. So I mean, fellas, everybody's seen me. I think the obvious costume for me is fucking Frankenstein. That's I walk like fucking Frankenstein. Grease my hair back and find a suit that doesn't fit me anymore, which is almost all of my suits, by the way.
There it is,
And
right?
look at you. Have you been working out, or you just lost a lot of weight? You lost a lot of weight.
What? Who, me?
Yeah. No, I know you.
Well,
are.
actually, I 5 months in the joint.
Yeah, going through hell would.
Yeah, I went from 2.25 down to 180,
Hmm.
and now I'm at like 200, 205. So
So you're getting back to
yeah,
to
I think I'm good here, Will. I don't. The rest of it was belly, so I think if I can stay here, I'll be fine.
That's the
Well, I
one.
got
That is the battle.
So my show
right.
that's coming up is the one that I worked on now for 9-10 months,
Yeah.
and it's going to launch this week at a local church, which is the Relaxing Earth. It's designed to use relaxation and make people who are sick feel better.
As opposed to the actual Earth, which is not so relaxing
That's
anymore.
right, which is not so
People
reliable.
feel good as opposed to bad, which is what happens when I play.
All right, gents. Well, great to see you. That was GMTV 205. It's great. Super to see you guys, and we'll see you soon. Let's get Bill Bowman's Thursday Halloween gig going.
There we go.
All right. Take care, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.